Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This time we are on episode 13, I believe it is. We had 12 last time, we had 13 this time. Last time, we had the return of the almighty Koenigs, the legendary Koenigs, and we had the pleasure of actually meeting a new one. We met LT Koenig, who was not only a sister Koenig, not only presumably the only sister in the family, but she was also the first of the Koenigs to actually get into S.H.I.E.L.D. and to actually become an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then the rest of the identical brothers actually followed in her kind of footsteps, which is pretty iconic if you ask me. And she was the first one, and she was, I think she was also, yeah, she was kind of like somewhat tasked with looking after Thurston. Thurston tried out becoming a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, but he didn't really cut out for it. He wasn't really cut out for it. He didn't really enjoy it all that much, and he even said, I don't want to be part of your Agents of Doom or whatever. So he didn't want to go for it, but he did quite enjoy comedy. He quite enjoyed stand-up comedy, so he did kind of have his own kind of stand-up comedy joint, which she kind of helped guard, and she kind of helped watch over him and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know if that was exclusive to the last episode because the Koenigs were generally in trouble, or if it was actually because she genuinely was kind of tasked with actually watching over him for whatever reason. But either way, it happened. That was the thing. So we met them, and the Koenigs returned because they were the ones, or at least Sam and Billy were the ones that Coulson had actually tasked with making the Darkhold disappear, which they did. They actually played a game of hot potato with the Darkhold amongst themselves, and then it ended up behind many locked doors inside a library, and then finally inside like an actual cabinet in the wall and everything. So yeah, so then I think it was I think it was either Sam or Billy. One of them was actually kidnapped by the Watchdogs and then taken to the submarine where we met the Superior. And Radcliffe used the framework on the one of the Koenig's minds, and he discovered the location of the Darkhold through there, and they all kind of shoot like S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Watchdogs, and everyone went there to try and find it, and then eventually ended up in Radcliffe's hands. So they now have the Darkhold, and they can actually deal with it as they please. So I do not look forward to seeing exactly what kind of further information he gets from it, or what new technology he actually creates with the Darkhold. So that doesn't look like the most fun time. So there's that issue. But we did meet the Superior. We met the Superior, and yeah, I think I think it's his name. I can't remember his name. No, the actor's name anyway. Like the actual Superior's name is Anton Ivanov, and he is a very well connected and very wealthy man. He just has like a submarine. He has a bunch of other stuff that he uses to his disposal, but he has a submarine, which is where they're traveling right now. And he also, he doesn't necessarily hate Inhumans, but he also doesn't believe that Inhumans actually earned their power or their strengths or anything like that. So he doesn't really believe that they should exist in the way that they do. And he also has a kind of bone to pick with Phil Coulson. He believes that Coulson is responsible for all of the alien things happening on Earth, from the Chitauri all the way to the Kree and the Inhumans and everything. And he's actually investigated Coulson quite a bit. He's always present. Whenever alien stuff goes down. And he also died, and yet he is everywhere. He's everywhere at events happening long after his kind of publicized death. So he's got some words to have with Phil Coulson. So we can enjoy that meeting when it gets here. But he seems like a cool and intimidating kind of character so far. So I look forward to seeing where they take him. And yeah, we had LMD May being discovered. We had a somewhat unofficial fill in the kiss. We had a somewhat official unofficial fill in the kiss of May and Coulson actually having their first kind of kiss in the library. And yeah, I mean it's different from the other kisses we've had, which after initial viewings, I think I did kind of feel like it did seem different from the other cases. It seemed a lot more kind of slower and a lot more slow paced and everything. But then, after reading some comments, I have found that maybe it's just the way that they've actually styled the fill in the case after Coulson and May themselves, who they are, how far they've come, how far they've been, how much they've been through it, and exactly their kind of matching their kind of maturity and their kind of style of intimacy and all that kind of stuff. So I think that is the kind of beautiful thing about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if it tries to execute these kinds of moments, it always does try and match it to the characters themselves and to who they are, what they've been through, how old they are, and trying to kind of not trying to dictate it, so to speak, but more trying to like kind of personify it through those actions, through that kind of direction and everything. So yeah, and I think because it's an LMD mate, it does feel that much less unofficial. But then the way they've been going with the LMD mate, I am all the more curious to see how much more of her they explore, how much more of her kind of like her style and her version of May, and also seeing where the real May is at now. Because I think the last we saw of her, she's still going through her kind of altered Bahrain kind of memory in the framework. So I wonder if she's still going through that, or if they've actually given her other kind of dark memories that have been updated, or something. Really hope they do give her another fight with Ward. I really hope they give her like a version of the fight with Ward she had at the end of season 1, but updated where she actually manages to kill him or something. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, that would be like another combat situation. But I feel like that one would also be, you know, like that one could also be altered to a way that she wins. Like not in a way that he's weakened, but in a way that she actually gets to. Because like last time she only got like one chance, and it was like a pretty much like a you know, screw up and you'll die because he will try and kill you. But with this time, like she actually gets to, you know, plan and coordinate her moves a bit more, and she actually gets to do it over and over again in different ways too. So could work that way too. But I guess we'll see. So I mean, the whole point of the framework is to keep her distracted and to keep her from finding out that it is in fact a simulation. So Bahrain giving her that was pretty much the key. So giving her anything else might not work as well, but it would still be cool to explore. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, that is pretty much it. They've discovered that the LMD mate is also an LMD because she kind of broke her code as soon as she got her hands on the Darkhold and held a gun in Coulson's face. So they've discovered that LMD mate is the real one. And then Fitzsimmons and Mac also found the Darkhold inspired brain inside the LMD Radcliffe. So then they figured out that the other brain was actually in May. So now the truth has come out, but there are even more truths to come out, knowing this show, so only time will tell exactly what those truths are. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got from this one. We had some other fun moments too. I freaked the freak out at, you know, there being Quake fanfic in the MCU. I think I had like a good 10-20 minute rant in the last reaction, so I think you guys know pretty much full well exactly how I feel about that, and I have to definitely update my, you know, Funko Pop / action kind of figure collection up here. You know, Cap is pretty lonely, but soon enough, I think, you know, he'll still kind of be off to the side, and, you know, there'll be like, you know, newer appearances and new kind of, you know, new roles up here. So all in good time, But yeah, I think that was just among many of the tidbits, and yeah, I think it's pretty much all I really think was worth remembering from the last one. So on to episode number 13, so on to the reaction for episode 13, and with this reaction, as always, you guys know the drill, it's just going to be like the highlights and the best bits, but if you guys can watch the full episode along with me in the full-length reaction, and that one will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there, that would be just as cool. But yeah, on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., episode 13 of season 4. Let's go.
Go, Agnes.
Who is this?
How was your day?
Good day so far.
A brunette. What? That's Aida. That's Aida. That's Aida, or at least that must be like some kind of the human that she's based off of. Wait, there's a real life Aida. There's like an actual human version of Aida. Radcliffe really wished hard, didn't he? Radcliffe must know her. He must know her.
Does that thing have to be in here?
Of course not.
Hey, yo.
Well, this place is perfect. All the power we need.
Harmless to humans. If you're a potential inhuman, however, it will turn you.
Is the superior an inhuman?
We're counting on it.
Oh goddamn! Or maybe like inhuman watchdogs. That would be the worst thing.
Dial in that scanner. We can't have it detecting every metal clothes hanger as an LMD.
Oh, they have an LMD detector. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I know General Talbot was hoping to replicate what was done to Steve Rogers, but you'll never be Captain America.
But I agreed not to take the serum until you completed the
Well,
medical
hey, you don't need the serum to be Captain America. Look at Sam Wilson.
Yeah, and I hear you're doing well.
Agent Piper had me pinned in 10 seconds this morning.
Well, you just need combat training.
Tomorrow it will
You don't
be
need a
12.
serum. Combat training,
You
literally,
don't
just combat
understand.
training.
I need.
You now have
Oh.
a serum delivery device on the belt of your suit.
Oh,
Just
you
one
can't-
turn
no,
and the
fit-
injection is
fits.
delivered directly into the
No, yeah.
test. The test didn't go that well, did they? Okay. Well, in that case, it's also good that we added a heart monitor and a GPS.
It's gonna need a cold climate. And remember the
Damn,
relocation
Daisy
packets,
really looks
shields,
great in
eyes,
any
all
color,
that
literally
stuff.
any
Any
color, and
pushback,
she
you know how
just
to find me.
looks like
Copy
a
that,
fucking
Agent
angel. Jesus.
You'll make the right decision at the right time, or you'll get an Asgardian staff through the chest. Try to avoid that part.
Yeah.
Goes without saying.
Yeah, you just die for a good while and then you come back and a whole load of other shit starts happening. That's just it was great the first time round. Let's not let history repeat itself again. Ooh, she's an artist. Okay. Huh.
It's a replica, you know.
And she's gorgeous.
The original's
Yeah,
in
she's
Mallorca.
gorgeous.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, have we met?
Not yet.
Oh, her voice too.
But I
And
know
yeah,
about
she's
the work you did
she's
with Holden
Australian.
Radcliffe.
What are you doing here?
Need a word.
Fuck.
You're comfortable with them hearing this?
There's
I
an
have
extra, a
to
bonus
reach
word for you. Oh, the Terrigen
No,
crystals.
wait. Stop. Wait.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is she inhuman? Wait. Oh, he's inhuman. Oh. Like I said, Inhuman Watchdogs. Inhuman Watchdogs. Oh, God.
But it was me.
An explosive Inhuman Watchdog.
She could have been brought to justice. Now we won't get that chance.
She can be brought to justice by bringing VJ back and letting him live
Grab what you
a
need.
good and healthy life.
It's time to show
That's
the world what
justice.
Shield stands for.
Yeah.
So I'll mark you down as shocked,
Damn.
but not
Can't get over a
surprised.
watchdog. The beautiful irony behind a watchdog being an inhuman.
I'm living out the rest of my life on my terms, and that means having nothing to do with Holden Radcliffe.
I understand your situation, and I don't want to make you cooperate, but if I have to...
Okay,
I'll-
Coulson, be diplomatic here. Explain to her what you
Think I'm
need.
scared of you?
Don't just force her into the situation.
We got this.
Handle the politics. You're the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah,
So I
so
guess now I'm the team mascot.
pretty much. Yeah. Sharpen, straighten that tie. You know, fluff that collar and let your throat sing.
Then you'll be doing it alone. How am I not finding any trace of bomb-making material?
Wait, did the
In
guy?
same way I'm not finding any trace of accelerant.
Did the guy blow up
Must be something.
indefinitely or
And yet,
Am I using that
there's
right?
nothing.
definitely, indefinitely?
So,
Like, can he
that's what's seen
reform?
entering Nadir's office right before the blast. If the Russians and Radcliffe have the dark hold, they could have created a new, untraceable explosive.
I really hate that book.
However they did this, if Shockley's not one of the 3 bodies in the morgue right now.
Radcliffe took something from me, too. Her name is Melinda May, and she means everything to me.
There we go. Explain. Humanize yourself instead of being like a. Yeah.
She's brave, and she's not afraid of death, but she deserves the chance to live what's left of her life on her own terms.
Just
I know
like
can
you.
appreciate that.
Just like you. So you'd have to just help them find her, and you can come back to your life.
What do you need me to do?
Okay. I like Agnes. Which is, I mean, it's weird to say that because I don't not like Aida. I like her. She's a cool villain. She's a cool character, but
Shield custody.
I really do like Agnes. Yeah.
The only freak I'll speak to is the director.
Okay.
Oh.
Again now, shall we?
Good science to model you on someone real.
I love how Agnes looks real, but Radcliffe just looks like a CGI'd, really badly de-aged kind of face.
Now she needs my help.
Yeah, he just looks like really chubby and like they've done the mustache removal thing on Superman from the original cut, but then Agnes actually looks real in that picture. God damn. It's like looking in a mirror. A very, very human mirror.
Big question is, how did Shockley
He's inhuman.
survive it?
He's the inhuman.
Bloody hell.
Oh, bloody fucking hell, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was trying to say push him out the door or something. You literally just.
What? Help save the day.
Don't do that. Just don't risk your life when you're doing it. You could have been blown to bits.
Okay, come on, Gemma. This is not the first time that's happened. Yeah. Damn, but I think even Mace had a bit of a Steve Rogers moment there. Even he had a bit of a Steve Rogers moment. He literally reforms. Okay. Damn. Oh, jeez. Okay, thank God the. Okay, don't just stay there for a second. Stay there for like 2 seconds. Just stay there. So he's immortal then, essentially. He's because like he's regenerating cell by cell. So even after his cells are destroyed, he's still re-healing.
All right, so we know he can control it, but how do we control him?
Quake, Daisy. Oh.
You guys know that I
But you
can't.
did absorb.
Oh, yeah. I love how they just close in on her like she's the answer. Yeah. Oh. Do it for your Fitzsimmons. Do it. Yeah, do it for your Fitzsimmons.
Now we just need to devise a way to contain him.
Don't give him a chance. Give one to Melinda May. You know she would have stormed off 20 minutes ago.
I like this woman.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I really do not blame you. Yeah. I think Agnes she would probably get along with, maybe. Yeah, Agnes she'd probably get along with. Yeah. I mean, because she wouldn't try and kill her and stuff. Yeah.
I said I would save you. Let me keep my promise.
Can the Darkhold save her?
Follow my instructions.
Can the Darkhold save her? Can he save her using the Darkhold? Because that could, I mean, that should cure basically anything.
This breakthrough I've made is way beyond that.
The Darkhold.
Framework.
Oh, the framework.
I've built a world where death is obsolete. I can give you a full and happy
He would
life.
use the
That's
framework.
all I've ever wanted for you.
Oh, Agnes. Oh, good God, boy. Yeah.
Kinetic energy required to reform. It's remarkable. I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Exhausted.
So wear him out.
That?
Wear him out. Yeah.
If you wanted to get me naked, all you had to do it.
I thought Daisy
So
was supposed
creepy.
to stop him from doing that.
She's going to wear him out instead.
Yeah.
We need to hurry.
Keep doing it until he's too tired to grow back together. So
Shall
then
we?
he's just like a...
I think I figured out my place on the team. I'm the blocker.
Oh, the blocker. Are you sure? Okay. Oh, he's the blocker. Okay. Oh, he's gonna take the injection. He's gonna take it. Oh. Please don't let this be a bullet to the head. Be the Captain America of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ugh. Oh boy, there it is.
We have the Inhuman Director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh no. Oh god, Mace, how much can you take? Probably not very much. Not very much, no. At least he got a punch in. At least he got a punch in. Oh. Oh yeah, vacuum, yeah. Suck him up, contain him. Yeah, just keep him in there. There we go. Impeccable timing. Fitzsimmons and Quake do it again. They do it again. This must have been that painting she was talking about, right?
There's nothing we can do to sustain her in this life.
Wait, what? You lied to her?
In the framework, her consciousness will live forever.
Oh, so her mind lives on in the framework, so her but her body oh,
Eventually.
okay. Oh, she's gonna take her necklace, isn't she? She's gonna take her jewelry. Yeah. That's a really creepy exit. Oh god, is May still thriving? Is she still thriving? I don't know. That did not look like thriving, but I don't know. Okay, so yeah, so there was a human version of Ada, a human being after whom Ada was modelled. I trust I'm actually phrasing that right. I very rarely use the word whom in sentences, so I don't know if I'm actually phrasing that exactly right, but if I'm not, then just kind of auto-correct it. in your own brains. But yeah, there was actually like another woman that Radcliffe was with, Agnes Kitsworth, like an Australian artist type of person. And yeah, so she and I think she kind of labeled herself as the kind of the one thing that he couldn't fix, and she had a brain tumor. I think there was a very clear kind of like actual proper medical term for it, which has escaped me completely. But she had a brain tumor, which I mean, brain tumors. I mean, as anything comes, like, you know, and any kind of illnesses and diseases in the brain are like that much harder to fix and that much more complicated to treat too, because the brain is such like a sensitive organ, and operating is, you know, like, again, like next to impossible without, like, cause I think a lot of times too, they say that, you know, like, for one thing, it can be hard to detect, and for another thing, by the time they do detect it, it either becomes extremely risky or damn near impossible to actually operate. So yeah, and I think brain tumors as well, like, you know, they just grow and grow, and it's like it becomes hard to do anything, and, you know, and treatment itself can be expensive too, depending on where you are in the world. I mean, this was in America, so I can trust that, you know, maybe the medical bills are racked up to the sky and everything. So yeah, I mean, Radcliffe, like, knowing Radcliffe, he could have been easily wealthy too, but then I don't know, for some reason he was like threatened or like deterred by how difficult it was to actually treat this, so then he kind of disappeared, and she said he literally ran off, so he was not the most kind of faithful of partners. So yeah, but then he actually did kind of move on from her in the sense that he actually so then she is who Ada is built after. I did kind of have suspicions in that opening scene. I did have suspicions, like when like the face was so clearly kind of obscured, and like I think as soon as I saw she was a brunette, I was like, okay, well, that seems familiar. Like, I mean, it's not like we've never had brunettes on the show before, but still, like, it seems familiar. And, you know, like the face being obscured, like us not seeing the face for like a good few seconds kind of felt like iffy. Like, oh, clearly they're kind of, you know, like gearing up for like some kind of big reveal. But then it was like Aida. I was like, oh damn, okay, I did not see that one coming. I thought, you know, I thought, you know, I mean, at least thinking about it now, I figured, oh, if they're really gonna go down that path, then it may be like someone who looks like Ada. So then he might not be so creepy as to go for like an exact replica. He might just be, you know, going for someone who goes like who kind of seems close enough. But no, picture perfect copy of Ada, of Agnes even, because Ada is the copy, so picture perfect copy of Agnes. And yeah, so his answer to kind of leaving her on her own was to create like an android copy of her with, you know, surprise, surprise, no brain tumor, and not only no brain tumor, but she can actually build brains herself. So he clearly kind of has a thing for robots far more than he does people. And like, you know, like, unsurprisingly, because like he himself, he designed Ada, so he designed her, like, you know, like intentionally without any kind of physical or you know, like any kind of hardware or software faults. So kind of speaks volumes about him. But yeah, and I think I want to say, right, Mallory Jansen, I mean, for one thing, she's gorgeous. She's absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't get over. I think, you know, I think, you know, I mean, obviously, like they like the costume department and the makeup department, obviously, like, they make her look good, but still, she, even as Agnes, like, she even as like an actual human being, she's still just flawless. Like, she's drop dead gorgeous. She's like almost like the Lady Dimitrescu of Ada's Shield or something. Like, she's so tall too. Like, I mean, I don't know if she's tall. I don't know if she's tall as Bobby, but she's so tall. She's so tall and beautiful and everything. And, you know, just, you know, she's like she's so talented. She is so like this episode, right? Like, one thing I could not get out of my mind was just how fluid she is with her acting. Like, you know, like watching Agnes too. Like watching her play Agnes, like she flawlessly. I mean, she flawlessly plays like a completely different character, but also like the kind of direct kind of translation of her going from, because I think the only thing that would have actually been like stood as a solid testament to it even more would be if we had Ada and Agnes interacting face to face, and I don't know if we can get that in the framework, but either way, like, you know, like that would be that would definitely be like, you know, that would be the the tip of the iceberg in terms of Mallory's acting ability. Like if they had her on set playing both parts equally. I don't know how like shooting for that kind of thing goes, but if they actually had her on set, like actually playing both roles for like a full scene, then that would that would be the full range of Mallory Jensen's ability and everything. But even in this episode alone, just like her going back and forth, having to play two different characters in two different backgrounds, two different characters of two different backgrounds, but playing the same face but with different expressions and different histories and different like different motivations and different memories and everything. Like it's just so, she's incredible. Mallory Jensen is incredible. She's Agnes Kitsworth. She's so human and so sweet and innocent, and she's so like has such a like a fruitful past and such a like a peaceful kind of like a future. Like I think like given the way that she's given like what her life's been for her, so given what life's been like for her so far, I think no one can really blame her for wanting what she wanted. Like she wanted to live out the rest of her life, however little or however much of it there was left, in peace, kind of just, you know, continuing to draw and continuing to, you know, live out, knowing that she was no longer kind of, you know, hanging off of Radcliffe's kind of pedestal or whatever. Like, you know, she you know, like he left her, so she left him. He was nothing but like a speck of wind, a speck of dust being blown off by the wind in her past. So she was fully, she had already let him go by the time Coulson and Mac found her. So yeah, but yeah, Mallory Jensen is incredible, and even as Ada, like, you know, even Ada, like discovering this like truth behind her face, like, you know, Radcliffe showing her the face. I think that picture too, like she again, Agnes looks perfectly normal in that picture, but then Radcliffe, I think. It's obviously for the sake of actually de-aging him and actually showing off that, you know, it was taken years and years ago when he was younger. But then I don't know why they couldn't literally just give him like a clean shave for that. Like, you know, they could just like give him a clean shave, take that picture, because otherwise it just looks like a really bad Photoshop job of de-aging him. Like, you know, for one thing, his cheeks are much puffier and his smile definitely looks photoshopped. Then his cheeks are puffier, and even his lips, like looking at his like lips, like reminded me of like the botched mustache removal job from the original cut of Justice League and everything. Just, you know, it's they could have done better. And I think again, probably the easier way to go would be actually just giving him a clean shave and, you know, combing his hair and maybe like a bit of a makeup job too, and then he could have easily looked at least somewhat accurately young. Because I think even now I think he acts like he's young, but he's still kind of in his kind of like, he's probably middle-aged in some sense, but for the most part he still kind of tries to act like he's young and youthful and in his kind of mental prime and everything. So yeah, and then Radcliffe, once he met her from outside from the car, he told her that he could cure her. So I thought he'd actually, you know, and was trying to say that he could actually cure her using the Darkhold, because then that would make sense. That would actively make sense. And I think that, like, not only, you know, do I think that the Darkhold, the Darkhold has to be able to cure illness. Like, it has to, because I think all, like, so it, like, I think it can cure illness, like, you know, like anything from cancers to colds to flus to any kind of, you know, body or physical kind of thing. I think it would range from creating cures like serums to then also like to creating other, like, you know, like for any other physical illnesses, like physical injuries or physical stuff. Like, it would probably help like create like implants, like spinal implants for injuries, and like knee implants. Like, I mean, we already have those, but still it would probably maybe create more efficient versions, or help create like other things and stuff. So it could help create those, but then I think so then it could do all of that stuff, but then I think that also kind of stands like to kind of further prove the fact that the Darkhold is not an inherently evil book. But then again, it depends on the person using it. So if they have good or ill intents, then if they actually feel like motivated enough, or like if they actually feel good-willed enough to actually want to try and research that stuff and actually create a cure. Because I think, you know, Joe and his team created a machine that could create anything out of thin air, and then, you know, used to give it power. So it can already be used for science. It can already be used for science and technology. So it like what it could do, you know, like what it could do for like medical science and like the medical field is only like you can only imagine. But Radcliffe, like wanted to kind of expand upon his own dreams and his own goals, so he was thinking about that, and I think his own kind of ego makes him think that, oh, he's doing what's best for humanity too, but then it ends up being pretty much the opposite. So, with the Darkhold, like with that kind of knowledge and tech, you could easily kind of end starvation, you could easily provide free power for all, you could easily, do all sorts of things. So yeah, and then even the Superior wanted to use the Darkhold to actually he glanced at it. He even glanced at it, and then apparently the Darkhold told him that Radcliffe was the answer, because Radcliffe also picked up Terrigen samples. He had actually picked up Terrigen samples. He'd maintained some from his time with Hive. So that was then their key afterwards to actually trying to further take out the Inhuman issue that they were having. So there was that. So so then Coulson kind of being the way he was with Agnes obviously wasn't working, like him being like, oh, you may not want to help us, but you will, and we don't want to force you, but if we have to, then we'll, like him immediately being kind of rash and kind of being forceful, like that was never going to work from the start. That was never going to work. And I think like not even just being diplomatic, but also kind of being more like taking the more compassionate route and actually expressing sympathy and everything, and actually asking like to like asking to help from one human to another was actually more the key. And I would say I don't know why he didn't go that route from the beginning, because it's usually what he is known to do too, actually trying to take the more compassionate route. But then this episode, again, for Coulson, this episode focuses on how not only has he lost May and he needs to get her back, but he's also kind of been betrayed by the fact that him and everyone else has actually been living with like a fake May for weeks, and it's actually he was never able to. He was also never able to tell until she got the Darkhold, until her other programming came in and ordered her to do something else. He could never tell like she was that good. She was programmed that good, and she was also kind of self emulated that well. So that kind of betrayed him, and the fact that I think it's also the fact that he it could also be some extension of the fact that he knows Mace so well that he doesn't expect anything else. He feels like he knows her well enough that he can actually tell when something's off, but then he also doesn't expect her to have been replaced by an LMD. But then that LMD also is, again, it's not only programmed to emulate her perfectly, but then that LMD herself also then grew to believe that she was the real May. There was no reason to suggest otherwise right up until she got that injury. So then she actually did behave and interact as if she was the real May, and like not even in like an imposter way, but like in a way like, oh, I am the real May. I am the real Melinda May. I have her memories, I have her thoughts and drives, and now I have her new found motivation. So that makes me Melinda May. So I mean, I don't know if it left him feeling like he doesn't know May as well as he did, or maybe he actually let him. Or and again, I think it's mainly just the fact that there was never too much reason to suggest otherwise, because the only LMD they knew of was Aida. Like they definitely didn't actually anticipate Radcliffe actually building more and sending out more. So but now they have the LMD detector. They had the LMD detector in the base that now apparently goes off every time something metal goes through. So they have to redo that. But then now they have like an LMD detector in the shield base. So then that I think that I am curious as to how well that's going to work in the coming episodes, and how how much it's going to scare them every time like someone walks through and it just goes off and then guns come flying out. It's like, reveal yourself. Who are you? Where's the real agent? Whatever and stuff. So that's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, with Coulson, I think I will say it's also like a reason I don't want to see like the LMD May dying, or because we didn't see her at all this episode. So like there's been no confirmation as to whether or not they've actually kept her on sleep mode or shut down or something, or if she's actually been like allowed to be awake, and if she's just being kept in like some kind of cell. But I also do not want to see anything like anything bad happen to the LMD man. I don't want to see her die. Like no axing. I think with Aida from Mac that was kind of badass, but I do not want to see him swinging that axe or anywhere near the LMD May. I want to see where they take her, but I also would like to see that come to some kind of like peaceful conclusion. Like maybe she's not like gonna be allowed to live as the actual May, because then once the real May comes back, she like May can't be seen in two places at once. It would put Shield at great risk, and it would put her at great risk. So there's that. But then I don't know, like hopefully some kind of peaceful kind of resolution or conclusion for her. Hopefully nothing too kind of dramatic or deadly or anything. So hopefully she can find a way. But yeah, I think this episode did kind of focus on Coulson being I think on Coulson focusing so much on actually bringing and finding a way to May and bring her back, so much so that he actually kind of did forget how to be reasonable and rational, and instead he just jumped into I lost someone I care about, so now I'm gonna make you help me whether you like it or not. But then in the end, he actually did, like, thanks to a little bit thanks to Mac's words and a little bit thanks to like his own kind of self-evaluation, he did kind of come to a more peaceful conclusion. He even admitted to her at her doorstep, like, he was gonna go down there and actually start kind of monologuing about how he was gonna make her do it, even if she didn't want to. But then he actually did, actually learn to once again to reconsider the more compassionate route. So then he actually did sympathize with her and tell her about May, and then like even Agnes actually like upon hearing that like May would have stormed off 20 minutes into that meeting, like he's like, oh, I like this one. I like she knows not to waste any time on people that won't even bother to be punctual, or even people who might not who might try and employ spy tricks against her. So she was a big fan of May. So I wonder if they can have Agnes meeting May in the framework. I mean, I don't know if Ada or Radcliffe would allow that, but I think that would be super cool. Maybe if the framework itself kind of allows some kind of glitching or some kind of modifications of its own. Maybe if the framework becomes like Ada and it can actually reprogram itself in some way, then maybe it can make some changes of its own, like make some changes that maybe Ada or Radcliffe don't really see coming, or something like that, and then it actually kind of maybe or maybe just like minor glitches here and there that actually allow Ada and Agnes and May to actually interact in their worlds. Like maybe if it's a glitch, maybe it's like actually through like a glitchy kind of tear in the environment, or maybe it's like an actual kind of like just like passing faces, like maybe her seeing Agnes's face in like in her environment, like passing by through a window or something, and then she thinks Ada's in her environment. But I don't know. But yeah, that would be cool, seeing Agnes and May meeting. So then Agnes can actually meet May, and then actually gonna be like, oh, you're the one Coulson was actually telling me about, and she's actually excited to meet her. So yeah, and she's Australian too. Agnes is I think I actually mentioned this before, but yeah, she's Australian too. So I don't know if Mallory Jansen herself is Australian. I'm not really too sure where she's from, but either way, it sounds like a pretty good kind of Australian accent. I haven't really watched too many movies with Australian characters in them, so I'm not really sure what the authentic kind of Australian accent sounds like. I think you can get the kind of stereotypical Steve Irwin almost anywhere, but then there's also Chris Hemsworth, and I mean pretty much all the Hemsworths kind of natural accents and everything. There's that. There's I think Dacre Montgomery is Australian, like the guy who played Billy in Stranger Things, and he was also no. Yeah, and Billy. Billy. Was it Billy? I think he was Billy Hargrave or something. He was Billy in that. He was who was he in Power Rangers? He was the Red Ranger. He was the Red Ranger. What was his name? I think he was, because I think there was a Billy in Power Rangers too. There was a Billy in Power Rangers too. But then he also plays Billy in Stranger Things. I think Jason, was he Jason? I think he might have been Jason in Power Rangers. But Dacre Montgomery has an Australian accent. There are others. I think voices come to my head, but not so much the names. Not voices and vague kind of little faces, but not so much the names come to my face. To my mind even. But yeah, again, Australian accents, even from my kind of hearing experience, can actually differ, because I don't know if Australia has states, but I think it still has like cities and different kind of areas of like thickness that the accent can range from. So Yeah, maybe, but yeah, either way, it's cool. She's cool. She's super awesome. But we only got her for one episode. And I think we only got her for one episode, but I think that episode was meant to kind of show off more. It definitely I think it definitely was meant to show Agnes off more as Radcliffe's backstory than I think it introduced her as her own character and actually gave her a chance to actually explain herself and to actually kind of show off who she was. But then also the more prominent tie, she was more prominently like a tie-in for Radcliffe's character, like showing off what his history was, who was in his history, and how exactly Ada came to be visually and everything. So for that reason, I'm hoping we see more of Agnes in the framework, and I'm hoping we see the kind of life that she lives, because then I feel like it could actually allow some kind of like further humanization of Radcliffe himself. But then of course like Agnes herself seems like a pretty kind of interesting character. And I think as well as that, like her being an artist and him being like a scientist, I'm curious as to how those two came together. Like like similar-ish kind of fields, but still one being like more academic and the other one being more creative. Like I'm kind of curious as to what their actual romantic history is and what she saw in him. But yeah, Agnes is cool. Agnes is super cool. So yeah, and then she eventually agreed to help. She eventually agreed to help, and then she did, and then she ran off with, and then this time she ran off with Radcliffe. She left Coulson back behind, and she ran off with Radcliffe in hopes of a cure. So yeah, and yeah, I think going back to actually no, I'll talk about Mace. Actually, I'll talk about Mace. Okay, so Mace. Yeah, I think Mace had an interesting journey. I think in this episode, Mace had an interesting journey. He could not take the serum anymore. He couldn't take. I think that to me, I think upon hearing that, I think that kind of made sense, because like again, it's a modification of Cal Johnson's serum. It's not like it's been improved by actual like qualified scientists this time, but then it's still like the baseline of it is still Cal Johnson's. Like he literally said it was the same serum they confiscated off of him when Shield actually captured him and everything. So it's the same baseline serum, but just with a few improvements. So then I think by that logic, it should kind of follow up that okay, some of these you can take, but then one of these might end up killing you or kind of harming you in very, very damaging ways. So it's best just to not. It's basically like Russian roulette. You don't know which one's gonna kill you, but one of them, any of the next ones, any of the next shots you take, it could easily be the one that kind of actually drains you and kills you, instead of giving you that huge boost of superhero steroids that you actually need. So yeah, but then what actually surprised me even more was Mace actually then feeling confused by his place on the team. I think by the team he probably meant like the inner circle, like he didn't really know what to do with them. But even then, it's like I think it already kind of felt pre-established, like a few episodes back when Coulson told him like oh, the spy ops and the actual field missions, me and my team will take care of that, but then you actually handle the bureaucracy and the politics and all the kind of being the face of Shield stuff, because he is the director of Shield. So then yeah, like it kind of surprised me when he didn't really know how to do that anymore. But I think part of it could be because of the fact that he isn't actually Inhuman, so then he doesn't really fully know how to keep pretending to be that, and he's also uncomfortable. He's also like uncomfortable with continuing to keep up that facade, and especially after the talk he had with Daisy, he's uncomfortable. But he doesn't feel like he has much other choice. But then I think maybe having those powers also gave him. I think it's like a similar route to Steve Rogers. Feel like having those powers actually made him feel like he had the ability to actually make a difference in that way too. Actually being in the field and fighting and helping and being like another moving piece in the field ops of Shield. So there was that. But then so then him kind of feeling confused about his position there, like because I think it kind of confused me too, because then Coulson himself, like even like from season 1 to 3 when he was the director of Shield, he never had any powers. He never had powers, and he still went on plenty of field missions, and he still kind of did his part, and he still kind of he kicked ass, he fired bullets, he still called the shots, he still made plans, he still executed them, he still fought for life and for his own life, and for the life of the team and everything. So he did a great job. So I think it's like like maybe like a chat with Coulson, like an in-depth chat with Coulson could be what he needs. Also some give the man some combat training. Give the man some I mean, I think he did mention that that Agent Piper could actually pin him down in like 2 seconds or 3, or in like a number of seconds, in like a very short time. She has combat training from May as well, so she can easily pin anyone down. She's just so strong and so powerful like that. She's amazing. Piper is amazing, and Brianna Venskis is one of the reasons why. So yeah, wait, is it Brianna? I think I'm pretty sure it's Brianna. I'm pretty sure it's Brianna. Is it, or is it Bianca? No, Brianna. No, this is embarrassing. Wait, is it Brianna or is it Brianna or Bianca? It's Brianna. Okay, I knew it. Yeah, Brianna sounded a lot more familiar. I think, yeah. So yeah, Brianna Venskis is one of the reasons why. So yeah, I totally know that. But yeah, but she could easily nail him in combat. I mean, that was training. That was literally training. So, like, I mean, you can easily get hit, and you can easily, in the words of Rocky, it's not about how you get hit. It's not about, how much you. It's not about what is Rocky's quote? Like, it's not about how much you hit. It's about how much you can get hit, but keep getting up. So your enemies, you should expect your enemies to be able to actually knock you on the floor and pin you down, because then not only will you be ready to anticipate that move, but then you can also actually get used to being knocked down, and then you can even do the kip up thing. I don't know how people do it. It's like, you actually lift your legs up and you do the kind of you literally jump up from the floor. Awesome. Like the move looks so awesome. It looks so awesome, and you can incorporate it into fight scenes so fluidly. So you can do teach him to do that kind of thing. And yeah, I think when your enemies knock you down, when they pin you down, you can try and wiggle your way out, and then do a kick up, and then knock them down again, and do all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, I mean, just give him some combat training, give him some actual training, teach him how to fight and throw punches. I mean, he knows how to throw superpower punches, but then that's because he has the strength. So then, when he does have the strength, he needs to know how to actually do some bobs and weaves and dodges and left, right uppercuts and everything, so to actually teach him how to fight and stuff. And I know I said Sam Wilson a little bit too early, but yeah, I mean, even when they had that line about, I know Talbot wanted to find the next Captain America, but I'm so sorry that's not going to be you. But then, again, Falcon and the Winter, I mean, again, I know this came out way before the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but still, the point still stands, because again, Steve was not chosen because he already, like Steve literally was at the bottom of the barrel in terms of actual physique and physicality. Like, he was not chosen because of the strength of his muscles, but he was chosen because of the strength of his heart. And I think the heart still counts as muscle. The heart still technically counts as a muscle. But again, the point still stands. He had a strong heart, he had a strong spirit, and the right kind of head, the right kind of mindset and everything. Like, that was why he was chosen, not because he already had like a mini six-pack going on, but because he had the courage, he had the right kind of fight in his heart that would then empower him to use his muscles in the right ways, and on the right people. So then like I think like Mace just needs to be reminded that like Steve was Cap way before he had the serum, and I think even then he had a similar moment, like similar to Steve jumping on the grenade in the first Avenger. Like, I think Mace and Fitz is pretty much known at this point for actually doing sacrifice, like for pulling sacrificial moves. He's known for jumping in front of things to save his friends, and for giving his own life to save his friends. It's not really that surprising from him, and even from Gemma, it's not really surprising from her. She still kind of goes in for a slap or a hug. So Fitz went in, but then Mace, I think with Mace going in, I was instantly reminded of, because the guy was actually about to blow up, so I think I was instantly reminded of, Steve jumping on top of the grenade, not knowing it was a dud, but then that pretty much made him Cap. That was what they needed, like someone who was actually willing to give their life, no matter what the odds were, and to actually, try and save people. So I think Mace kind of proved that too, like he was willing to actually, try and, could absorb maybe a little bit of the blast, and save the others. I think I thought maybe they could just like open up if it's like I don't think there was a side door. I kept on saying this, open up the side door and just push them out there, but it's not like a regular airplane, so there wasn't that kind of exit available. And they couldn't exactly open up the actual landing kind of docking platform thing, so they tried the next best thing, which was the containment module. So they've lost the containment module. So they have to actually build a new one and actually install that one too. So, and that didn't even contain him. That didn't even contain the guy. Like it literally blew up as it was flying outside the bottom of the plane and blew to pieces. So it can't contain Ghost Rider, and it can't contain Tucker either. It can't contain Shockley. It cannot contain Shockley. So it can't contain anything explosive or flammable. And like if you put an Inhuman in it that's not explosive or flammable, then it's fine. But if you put in something like the Ghost, like if you put a flammable or explosive Inhuman, or if you put like a demon thing, if you put like the spirit of vengeance in it, then it won't contain either of those things. So yeah, and you would think after the whole Ghost Rider thing, they would actually reinforce it to actually be able to handle more stuff. Because this time they still did put like an Inhuman inside, but then he still managed to actually blow it up too. So yeah, but then Mace had that kind of thing, and even at the end too, like actually telling Fitzsimmons to go on, and he would actually be the blocker too, and he actually injected himself and still managed to actually not definitive, not immediately stop the car, but he did actually manage to slow it down. And he didn't get run over by it or anything. So there was that, but now they've captured the director. Now they've captured the Inhuman director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he threw a punch in before he got tased to unconsciousness and everything. So there was that. But yeah, So Mace, I think in this episode alone, he's had like a very very interesting progression. So I do look forward to seeing him trying to be more of the Patriot and actually understanding that even him, like I think like the government. I think maybe coming to the realization that him being the Patriot means something different to what the government wants, because with the government and Talbot, they want a super soldier. They don't just see Captain America as Steve Rogers. They see Captain America as post serum Steve Rogers. They see him as a super jacked kind of super soldier Steve Rogers. So they see him as the guy who does what he does. They see him as the guy who's able to do what he's able. They see the guy who's able to do what he does because he has the serum. They see the muscles and the strength and all that kind of stuff. So then, by that logic, they think that Captain America then, by default, just should have the serum. So, and it's the exact same thing. It's nearly the same thing with John Walker. Like they actually did kind of look for a guy who already had top-notch physique. So he, even without the serum, he already had like enough strength to actually fight and stuff like that. So yeah, but with Mace, he is literally never like knowingly like. He's. I feel like if he had, they should have actually revealed it to us by now. So at this point, it's safe to say he's never served in the U.S. military in any kind of capacity, or at least if he has, then I'm just forgetting it. So do kind of inform me in the comments below. But for the most part, he's kind of been like mainly like a political kind of player, so he's very new to the whole kind of field of combat. So I think that's why that was pretty much why Coulson made that deal of actually making him stay in the office and making him do the politics and all the media stuff instead of actually having him go out on field missions. But then he still gets the Patriot suit. He comes to this kind of unfortunate conclusion that he can't really take the serum as much as he likes, and he can't really be the Patriot anymore. So yeah, be an interesting journey for Mace. And yeah, going back to Radcliffe having the Terrigen crystal. So yeah, so then since that reveal and since the Superior kind of revealing that he wanted to actually use the Terrigens to find out if Nadir was in fact Inhuman and taking her out too, I couldn't help but wonder could the Superior be Inhuman? Could there be any Inhuman watchdogs? Because I think Nadir being Inhuman too, I think that would be like an irony that I never would have honestly I think I don't want to say I never would have seen it coming. It's I personally wouldn't. I don't know if I'd actually want them to go down that route because of the fact that because of the hell that she put VJ through in his last episode, only for her to become Inhuman and then for her to find a way to survive. If she got those powers instead and she ended up surviving, then she has to live with the fact that she's the same thing as VJ, but then she actually what she did to VJ afterwards, and she gets to live. Even though she dies over and over again, but then she actually reforms and everything. But then no. Inhuman watchdogs. Yeah. So again, beautiful irony, beautiful and like an irony that I personally love to hate, because it's almost like giving them the satisfaction of feeling because the watchdogs would feel ashamed. The watchdogs, given who they are and how they feel about humans, they any one of them would feel ashamed, and they'd be like, no, I've become it would be becoming the one thing that they've hated for so long, like they themselves are, and it's it's similar to a form of it's similar to a form of actually walking a mile in someone else's shoes, actually putting yourself in someone else's shoes and actually living their experiences too, and it's that shouldn't especially after that, if they actually start to be more sympathetic towards humans or something, and then it's that shouldn't be what it takes for you to treat them like normal people too, but it's I don't know, it's so it's I think again, despite the irony, I just generally had very mixed feelings towards there being inhuman watchdogs and everything. But then for it to be him too, for it to be Tucker Shockley, for him to end up being inhuman, and then he kills everyone. He kills everyone in it is obviously he ends up still getting his own end of the deal. He ends up actually killing Nadir. And even that monologue he gives right before transforming to oh, this alien filth, it can live anywhere, it can live anywhere, it can skip a generation, it can't, this alien filth that we've been trying so hard to eradicate, we need to kill it, we need to kill all of it. And then 2 seconds later the husk actually transforms around him, and then he himself becomes one of those very things he hates. So then and then he actually goes off, and then he just kills Nadir and her assistant and whoever the other guy was. So that's the end of Nadir. That's the end of Senator Nadir. So then she lived out I think her final few moments were very, very fluctuating, very, very kind of very, very fluid. She went from fear of being killed because she a combined fear of being killed and being inhuman, a combined fear of being killed because she was inhuman, and then going to the kind of the kind of smug satisfaction that Shockley was inhuman, and then actually going straight back to split-second fear again before the husk explodes and blows up the entire office and kills everyone inside. So she had a very, very kind of a roller coaster ride of the last 5 minutes of her life. So yeah, but knowing what what's happened to VJ, I think honestly, right, I don't know if I should get my hopes up. I don't know if they're actually gonna reincorporate VJ in any way, because I feel with VJ especially, I feel we've had cases in the past, especially last season with Will Daniels. We had him for 1, 2, maybe 3 episodes. We didn't have him for very long, and then his end was that he died at the hands of Fitz. Fitz actually burned him, but burned his corpse because Hive was inside him. So there was we've had characters like that who have actually shown up, had a bit of time, some more than others, but then eventually they've actually left, and they're actually never seen again. But then those characters have died. Those characters have actively died. But then with VJ, he just kind of retransformed into a husk, which is likely keeping him alive, Captain America style, keeping him in maybe some kind of suspended animation. So until he's found again, he's just going to be down there. So it's not a very kind of climactic or kind of satisfying kind of end to his arc. There's no telling if or when anyone will find him, because again, no one's really looking for him either. No one's actively looking for him. With Steve, Howard looked for him for a while, but then they never found him, and then it wasn't until 70 years later some kind of digging team found him, and they called in S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they actually dug him out and actually rescued him and everything. So I think again, no one is people don't S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't know that VJ still has a chance of being alive, so they don't know to look for him. So he's just gonna be down there, kind of hanging out with the other fishes and everything. So I mean, I say other fishes, he's not a fish. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just think we don't know what he might. It's we don't know if the husk is solely protective, or if it's maybe giving him new powers. Maybe this time he actually gets new abilities too. If he actually breaks out this one too. Maybe if he does go through the 7-month gestation again, then maybe this time he actually still goes through like a different transformation. Maybe he gets new powers. So maybe this time from being in the water, maybe this time he actually does get fish powers. Like maybe he becomes Marvel's Aquaman. Maybe he becomes Marvel's Namor or something. I don't know. I mean, no, we have yet to have a Namor. We've yet to actually have Namor coming up in the MCU, but we could get he could actually start to become like a better swimmer because he actually has fishy characteristics. Like maybe he has gills, or maybe he actually gets like in Harry Potter. Like in Harry Potter when Harry takes I think it's the gillyweed, and he actually gets gills, and he gets like webbed hands and webbed feet, and he actually becomes like a fish humanoid, kind of like a fish human hybrid. So maybe he can actually transform back and forth between that when he actually comes out of the husk. So I don't know, but either way, I think again, VJ, I think it's like I think that would be like him being found and being brought back to life would be justice for him. He was murdered by his sister, so him actually being found and being brought back to life and actually being able to actually live a life again would be justice for him. No doubt he'd probably be in mourning too. He'd probably be mourning the loss of his sister, but then he'd actually this time he'd actually be given the second chance to go back with Shield and actually train and study with them. So Tucker Shockley, he was the Inhuman. And I think his power, so he could blow up. He could actually vibrate his cells so much that he'd actually end up using energy to blow up. But then he'd also, I think the even cooler thing was actually him. Well, not cooler, but I mean visually cooler. Like the even cooler thing was actually watching him actually reform too. Like he literally reforms almost like cell by cell, I think by the end of the episode the transformation got even quicker. So I think over time, like his regeneration speed actually accelerated. But then his initial regeneration, he actually goes from like skeletons to like I don't know, maybe like nerves to veins to muscle to skin. He actively kind of like regenerates each layer of his actual body part, piece by piece. So I think that could be like literal cellular regeneration, wherein even if like he blows up to the point where all of his cells are destroyed, but then even then his cells can easily just come back together too. So I don't know if that's to do with like proximity, like maybe like his inner cells aren't too far away from each other, or maybe his outer cells aren't. So then his cells are close enough that they can actually reform within that same kind of field, or what it is. But either way, he's basically immortal. So then like Fitzsimmons coming in with that giant, like intake fan powered kind of vacuum storage thing was pretty much the best thing. Like like Daisy kind of trying to take in the quakes and then actually blow him up at the same time, and everything. That was teamwork again. The Daisy and the Quake and Fitzsimmons, like the Daisy Fitzsimmons kind of teamwork in this one, as always top notch. As always, some top notch work. So that was really fun to see. And I think especially my favorite scene being my favorite scene by far being them figuring out how to actually stop Shockley, and then being we don't have anything on us that we can use. Like we need like a way to actually contain his actual kind of vibrational power and stuff. Like we need a way to actually contain the vibrational power and that actual kind of that kind of kinetic power and quake stuff. And Daisy did it before with in Los Angeles with Eli's kind of quake machine and everything. But then the way that Fitzsimmons slowly kind of gravitate towards Daisy because she's the answer, and then the way she just like starts spoken like, why are you kind of like just being like magnetically attracted toward Daisy? Like that is just that scene gives me life. That scene gives me life. But that scene, and I think that scene also perfectly summarizes their relationship too. Like Daisy is almost always like some kind of key in their kind of in their equation. Like anytime they need to actually do something smart or cool or to stop the villain, like they almost always just gravitate towards Daisy and be like, we have an idea, but you, baby girl, you're the key. You are the key piece in that equation and everything. So yeah, Daisy and Fitzsimmons again, the trio of a lifetime. They are just. And then going back to the framework. Radcliffe told Agnes he could cure her using the framework, and I think I did not fully see her dying in this episode. I thought any other way I would have, I think upon seeing it now, I think any other way I would have imagined it would be like, oh, she doesn't have long left, maybe a few days, and then he's like, well, like, maybe Ada telling him like, oh, she doesn't have long left, maybe a few days at most, and then Radcliffe saying, well then a few days is what we'll give her, and then she can actually, go away peacefully in her sleep or something, like something peaceful and serene like that. But then no, she still dies. But then with the framework, the idea is that the body dies as it as it inevitably would. The body is not built to last like a lifetime, not for everyone anyway. But then the consciousness, the mind, it lives on. So that's how the framework itself works. So yeah, and I think especially him being a transhumanist too, like he would definitely kind of like embrace the idea of like like the human consciousness living on in some way and living on in the way that the person dreams of most, like her living a life in the framework where she doesn't have to worry about any kind of brain cancer or tumor or whatever, no illnesses, no death, like that is essentially the way that the dark code cures illnesses. It helps you. I think I would not be surprised if he actually used the dark code to actually actually like to improve upon the framework. I would not be surprised if he actually used the dark code for that. Like if the dark code actually empowered the framework somehow. So then like by that route and that logic, then the dark code then actually does effectively help cure illnesses by giving you a machine that allows people to live on inside almost like a hive mind or like a network of different realities and simulations that you give that person. But then to what extent does that simulation run? Because then we've seen from May's framework kind of experience that like if you interfere with the edges of the framework, then that wall can tear down, it can splinter, it can crackle. So I mean, Agnes is nowhere near any combat situation, so then she has no need and no kind of worries about actually like damaging the framework or actually interfering with the actual outer kind of borders or anything, so she doesn't have to worry about that. But then to what extent does her life run? Like does she still get to interact in like a large procedurally generated world, or does she actually get to interact with Radcliffe in there? Does she actually get him back in some way, like a more compassionate version of him? Does she actually get to still meet people and actually interact with a world that feels real and feels like the one before? I don't know, but either way, it's a very, very intriguing concept. It's a very intriguing concept. I think it's a concept that definitely kind of feels like worth exploring. Maybe even with the living, seeing what kind of like scenarios it can actually it can actually put the living. Because I mean May, he claimed that May was thriving, but then that last final scene, that very, very final shot, we saw that May was kind of more like huffing and puffing, and her eyebrows kind of like fluctuating, and her breath kind of getting heavier and everything. So she wasn't. I don't know if that's because the Bahrain thing was actually looping looping around again. So she was actually back to fighting the men who were under the mother's control and everything. But either way, I mean, maybe she is still thriving because she's still fighting. But then she's fighting to save the day. So that could also be a possibility. But for the most part, I feel like she is still somewhat still going through some stuff, and maybe because I feel like there's also only despite how much she wants to change it, I feel like maybe there's also still so many times there's only so many times she can actually experience that Bahrain thing over and over again before she then figures out that something else is wrong and this is all kind of being put in a loop. Because then the Bahrain thing doesn't really. I think the Bahrain thing literally had one episode dedicated to it. So then there's only so much of that memory that she can live over and over again before stuff starts to feel familiar, and then she needs to be put into another memory. So so then for that reason, I'm curious, what other memories can they put her in? What other memories can they alter? What other memories need altering? So again, the fight against Ward, show us a revamped version of the season 1 finale fight, but then she actually actively beats Ward's ass multiple times, and beats him with a bag of oranges or something. But yeah, I don't know. But either way, she seems to be, I don't know, apparently she's thriving, but maybe she's thriving in ways that only Melinda May could. So maybe that's just her personal kind of way of thriving. So So yeah, and I mean, yeah, like that whole kind of idea too of the framework allowing people, and especially I think that kind of like, I mean, I think it could allow anyone, but also maybe it could like actually prioritize the lives of those who really don't have long left, like people dying from various diseases, and then they have like limited time left. So then in the case of maybe in the case of people being on life support, people either people being on life support or people who literally aren't like the treatment isn't working for them and they really don't have long left. So then in that case, then the person can actually live on. The person can then live on the life, like if they so choose to. If they so choose to, then they can actually live on the life they want in the framework, and then their body dies, but then their mind lives on in the framework. And maybe if there's a way to do it, like the families can actually spectate, or like maybe I don't know if they can interact. I mean, they could interact if they go into the framework too. If they go into the framework too, then they can actually interact through their own consciousness. They can actually interact with their things. I think, yeah, I mean. Again, like the framework itself, I think putting it like this, it actually is like a lovely idea, and it actually seems like a really sweet thing, like a thing with like good capabilities and really sweet emotions and sentiments to it. But then it being designed by Radcliffe, I don't know. I mean, because I think with May that was actively kidnapping, but then with like giving Agnes that kind of life is the one good thing, the one nice and compassionate thing he's done so far with the framework or with any of his technology. Well, with the framework, I think with Ada he still managed to patch up May and everything, but with the framework that's the one good thing he's managed to do with that, and then also maybe barring like him scanning May, regardless. But with this. You guys know what I'm saying. You guys know what I mean. Like it's the one good, purely compassionate thing he's done, not only for another human, but also for like another human that he actually wronged previously, for one that he actually hurt so much by leaving her because of what she had. It's the one nice thing he's done for her, but also just in general. So I think like because of that, I think it's like it's not enough to really give me too much hope about what else he might use it for, or what else Ada might use it for. And even Ada at the end, like she herself, like her finding out that she's actually not that unique, that she's actually based that she's actually modeled after a real human woman, and then she meets the human woman that she's modeled after, and like there's very little interaction going on there. But then after she dies, Ada does actually find her necklace, and she takes her necklace and wears it herself. So she's kind of feeling like, oh, maybe I can become like an imitation of Agnes now. Maybe I can actually visually imitate like some aspect of Agnes Kidsworth, and remind Radcliffe of her from time to time. Like I have her face because he gave it to me, and I now have the necklace because I took it. So then maybe she can actually connect to Agnes in some way, shape, or form in the future. So yeah, so that was like a whole thing. That was a whole thing with Ada. So that's fun. But yeah, but I think the framework again, it has those kinds of. I think it has those kind of sweet notions and sweet kind of potentials to it. Like it can actually allow people who need it and people who actually like choose that option to live out the rest of their life consciously in with their mind in the framework, and people like their family, if they so choose, can actually use the framework to actually visit them in there and actually do stuff and everything. So it has some possibilities. Like, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are. What your thoughts are on those kinds of possibilities, on those routes, and if the framework is actually applicable, what you'd actually consider it for. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the framework. Those are my thoughts on the framework. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much all I have from this one. So a great episode, really enjoyable episode, and a great kind of continuation, a great way to progress with everything that's going on. So looking forward to seeing how Mace fares in the hands of the Superior. I'm not really too confident on him, especially without powers. I'm not too confident on his ability to withstand that much torture, because then like this time Anton might actually go forward with the broken tube shard in the eye thing. He might actually try and cut him in the eye, or cut him elsewhere. He might try and actually punch him up and everything. So not too confident on that. Again, if he can withstand torture, then that would actually show he's a proper SHIELD agent at heart. He's not willing to give up any information, not willing to give up any and to give up any of his actual team's locations or anything like that. So that will be kind of like a proof that, you know, he is actually a strong SHIELD agent at heart, and he can actually withstand any kind of torture. He can do this all day. He can do it all day. If he can do that, then he can do it all day. So yeah, but that'll be fun to see, and hopefully, I mean, now Coulson and Mac have to find another way to get to May, and they have to find another way to actually find Radcliffe and find out where he's keeping May, and then we can actually kind of work on rescuing her, and then hopefully we can actually see more of her in the framework and see what she's up to and see what she's experiencing. So that should be cool. So yeah, and then hopefully more Daisy Fitzsimmons content in the future too. I want to see those three kind of, you know, kicking ass and taking names and being the badass bus kids that we know and love them as. So that'll be fun. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is all I've got. So yeah, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 13. So as always, thank you guys so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Once again, the full-length reaction will be available on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.